Hello and welcome back to a Method to the Madness Breaking Bad edition. I'm your host Patrick, and joining me as always is my co-host Mitchie.
Hello.
And today we are covering Breaking Bad Season 2, Episode 2, titled... What's it titled? Grilled.
Grilled. Yeah, like the burger place.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
Exactly like that.
Just without the E. Well, with the E. Yeah.
Yes. Good thematic connection there, Mitchie. Has a lot to do with this episode.
That's a very Australian thing too. Grilled. Anyway, sorry.
This episode is the first appearance of our favorite wheelchair-clad gangster.
Yeah.
What's his name? Fucking
Hector.
Hector Salamanca.
Yeah.
Who's a pretty prominent role in the Breaking Bad verse.
Fucking oath he does. Yeah.
As always, we'll read through a bit of the plot summary and comment on it. So, Mitchie, can you take us through that, please?
Yeah, it's a short one, so we're going to have to make do. Having been kidnapped by a crazed Tuco, Walt and Jesse are held prisoner in a desert hideout where he takes care of his sick uncle, the mute Hector Salamanca. Hector is incapacitated from the neck down and unable to speak, but can communicate with a desk bell attached to his wheelchair. Hank and the DA have rounded up Tuco's entire organization, and Tuco thinks that one of his associates ratted him out. He intends to keep Walt and Jesse in the compound until his cousins take them all across the border to Mexico.
So, as another great cold open at the start of this episode, with all the bullets in the desert and the sand, and then Jesse's car with the hydraulics pumping up and down.
And you see a dead body behind it too.
Oh, do you see Tuco's body? Yeah,
but you don't know whose it is. You just kind of see the feet. So
okay.
and because it's Jesse's car, you kind of fear the worst.
Right. Yeah. It's really strange. Like the only sound is the sound of the car going up and down.
Yeah.
And it's just very, like, I don't know, idiosyncratic. It's Breaking Bad through and through. And it's, yeah.
What I like about it too is that when it ends, they don't kind of, because the start, you see this car shot up and it's bouncing and it's real ominous and shit, but they never redo that shot again at any point.
Yes.
You kind of got to guess it for yourself, and it's kind of obvious, like the car gets shot up and it starts bouncing, but they don't make it too obvious where it's just like, they treat you like an idiot. You kind of still got to like draw the conclusion for yourself to some degree.
Yeah. As much as this show sort of takes its time, I love how economic it still is. As you were saying, it doesn't repeat the scene we already showed, like how in the pilot episode, we see Walter sort of recording himself on the thing.
Yeah.
And we don't see that at the end of the episode. We just, because we've already seen it, it just cuts to straight after that when he goes on the road with the gun.
Yeah, that's true. That is a good, that is very economical.
Yeah. I love it. Doesn't talk down to its audience, unless a show would just repeat it just to fill in the time. Yeah.
I've got a question.
Yeah, what's that?
A plot question. Why did the DEA just raid Chuko's place? Because, Chuko assumes that it's Gonzo kind of, snitched on it, but obviously that's not the case. So why did they do it?
Because, I don't know, if they found No-Dose's body, they'd have cause to, because they knew he was working for him. They had cause to question him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so they use that. Okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, I don't know, it's weird. Like, it seemed to happen pretty soon after, and it's all Tuco's fault, and I don't know, I still just can't get over how he sort of blames Walt and Jesse for not being able to, like, help No-Dose.
Yeah.
It's like,
does
Walter tell him that? Like, it's because you fucking beat him to death, you fucking psycho.
Well, like at the time when it happened, or?
Well, just anywhere in between then and, when...
I don't think he says it like that, but he kind of... But at the end of this episode, he does tell him the truth, which is fucking great. Yeah, dude, fucking Chuko, he's just, that's why I love him. He's just a true he's a representation of a method with power. Most fucking crackheads and methods you see, in your fucking red light areas in your local city, like, they don't have any power, and sure, they fucking could be dangerous, but they're just in general just losers, right? But when you give one of them power, like him, where he's a drug lord and owns quite a lot of territory in the drug world, that's the kind of shit that happens, Yeah. It's just the worst combination.
And because of what you're saying, just because of how scary and brutal Tuco is, it forms like the cornerstone of the conflict of this episode.
Yeah.
Where it's Walter and Jesse are kidnapped by Tuco, one man. So two men are being kidnapped by one man, and you'd think, like they can probably, in fact, they talk about it in the episode, they're like, let's just both rush him, we might have a good chance. But the thing is, like, Tuco is a pretty, like, thick dude as well. Like, he's fucking, he's a bit built, even though he is kind of a short guy.
He's short, but he's tanky.
Yeah, he's tanky, and the fact that he's erratic and just batshit crazy, you believe him. You're like, yeah, no, I still don't think, even with those two taking him on, that they would win.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and when you're high on meth too, you probably got like, considerable more amount of fighting power just because you'll do shit that your sober self wouldn't.
And you probably can't feel pain, so...
Yeah, well, I think that's why at the end, he gets out of that ditch after he's being shot, because he's just methed the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah. How excruciating is it when Tuco's just about to hit that meth, and then Jesse's like, yeah, it's chili powder. I fucking hate chili powder.
I should probably move on to the second paragraph, because kind of bleeding into that.
Yeah.
Hank, meanwhile, takes a bit of time off to look for Walt. Skylar is sick with worry and has been distributing handbills with Walt's photo. Hank remembers that Jesse Pinkman was Walt's source of marijuana and tries to track him down. Walt tries unsuccessfully to poison the burrito Tuco prepares with the ricin he has prepared. Hector thwarts the attempt, prompting Tuco to lash out at Walt and Jesse. Tuco takes them outside and plans to kill them. Walt and Jesse manage to wound Tuco and escape. Hank shows up looking for Jesse and is confronted by a wounded Tuco. A brief firefight ensues. Hank shoots and kills Tuco. End episode.
Yeah. I thought they do get Tuco to eat the burrito with the meth in it. Do they not? Or is that the one that Hector knocks down?
Yeah, because remember he swaps it over because he thinks Hector wants a bigger burrito. Then Hector, knocks it over. Yeah. So it never gets eaten because it's on the floor.
See, I thought he did eat it, and that was like, it was... You could still have that because he's going to die at the end of the episode anyway.
Yeah, true. That's actually a good point. I guess, that would have actually been almost better in a way, because, like, it's kind of like, he's going to die, but then something out of the blue, Hank fucking kills him. That's kind of a cool way to do it.
Yeah.
Either way, it works. But wouldn't you be able to taste it? Like, you're munching on a fucking burrito and there's these, like, kind of hard crystals in there. I mean, I'm no fucking professional with methamphetamine, but by the looks of it, it looks pretty fucking hard. Like, it looks like, big sugar crystals or something like that. I mean, if you crunch in the teeth and you'd be like, what the fuck is that? Like, it's a risky thing to do.
Meth dulls your taste in your mouth or whatever.
Maybe, yeah. And also, another funny thing is that when he doesn't take the ricin right, because... Jesse says that there's chili powder in it. How ironic is it that this Mexican guy that's cooking fucking burritos with presumably chili doesn't like chili powder?
Yeah. It's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah.
So we were saying, like, last episode or whenever it was that they made the ricin, that ricin stays throughout the whole series, but he empties it. What he does he use all the ricin on the meth, or does he like save some? Is that how
because he has? Well, he only put a small amount of the ricin on that meth.
Oh, okay.
So maybe he kept the bag of the rest of it too.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, presumably they made it all. Yeah.
Okay, so to the B plot with Hank and the family looking for Walt. When Hank goes to their house, he pulls something off of Walt's car. Did you notice that?
Yep.
Like a bug.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, what, he bugged Walt's car?
Yeah, isn't this a big thing later on?
But like, that's because Hank suspects Walt of him being Heisenberg. At this point, he doesn't suspect shit, so why has he bugged the car?
Wait, is that really why he bugs it later on?
Yeah, that's what I
can't remember later on. Yeah, okay, but yeah, talking about this episode, I thought he bugged the car because he just wanted to know where the fuck he was going, Like, simply for Skylar's sake and the family's sake. Because, he'd been running away and kind of going these weird places. Yeah.
I thought by this point, Hank isn't really involved in that at all. Like,
but I think he's got concern for the family, though. And I'm pretty sure that's why he would have put it on there. Because he's a cop and he has the ability to track cars. He's probably doing it, even though it's not really the right thing to do. Maybe he just wants to do it to see how Walt's doing, what he's doing, just for his own sake.
Yeah,
which is interesting, because what if he just happened to come across? Yeah, it's kind of like easily could have revealed that he is Heisenberg.
Seems like a real big invasion of privacy, which is weird because Hank's sort of apprehensive to reveal to Skylar that, he has a second cell phone, as if he's trying to protect his privacy. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it is, yeah. I mean, he's a cop, I guess he can kind of... He's bending the power a bit because he's kind of like, using Gomez to track cars and that kind of stuff for the sake of searching for Walt. And so if he wasn't actually a cop, he wouldn't have ended like that because he never would have found a car to begin with. He only found where Jesse's car ended up being because he's a cop. So it's a little bit of bending of rules there, which is, I mean, I think a natural thing that a cop probably would do if their family member was missing. I mean, you can't really blame them too much for that.
Yeah, good point. Okay, so in this episode, we see a bit of how Walter Jr. is dealing with his dad. He seems to be growing more apathetic and more kind of distant, as his dad is also growing distant. And then this sort of culminates a bit later on with him changing his name to Flynn. So yeah, I like, I never really thought much about Walter Jr.'s arc in this series, but I see the development of it here.
Yeah.
And it's really sad too.
It is sad. It's so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're really committed, like putting up those flyers and stuff. They do care about Walt. There's no doubt about that at all.
And then when Hank goes to visit Jesse's mother, she says how, Walt was like a really good teacher to Jesse and he really tried to motivate him.
Yeah.
And like she was like, he was one of the teachers who really cared about him. So yeah, I don't know, that's just really nice, man. You see that in their friendship throughout the series, how, despite how much Walter just like berates Jesse, at the end of the day, he kind of does care about him.
Yeah. And poor Jesse in this episode too. Like Chuka just treats him like far more like shit than Walt. He's willing to just kill him outright and then beats him up at the end, but doesn't beat Walt up. Like, obviously Hector's saying he doesn't like either of them and he wants to kill both of them, but he picks on Walt instead. He picks on Jesse instead and just slams him against the wall and beats him up and shit while Walt watches. It's just, Jesse always gets picked on, eh?
There's just a really funny moment when he's talking about Gonzo and then how he's going to kill him, and then Jesse was like, yeah, man, I'd ice him too. And then Tuga just goes, shut up.
Yeah.
It's like, just fucking stop talking, man.
Yeah.
And then Jesse just has this look of like, oh.
Man, that whole just the whole thing with Hector was so good too. It was just some good shit with that ringing a bell and stuff. Like, when you're watching it the first time, it's a little weird, but like, it really builds tension so well.
It
is,
yeah.
This fucking not deaf, but like this mute guy, you think he's senile or something, but he's actually fully like there. Like, it's just so good.
He was probably playing dumb when Walter was like clicking in his face, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
He's not an idiot, as we'll see next episode.
Are they punking me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's about it. Do you have anything else?
No?
No? All right, cool. All right. Join us next episode then. Thanks for listening.
That's right. Thank you.
Tío. Is that it, tío? Is that it, tío? Huh? Did they change your mamitas? What are you telling me, tío? Huh? Are they punking me?
If you like this series, Mitchy's going to tell you where you can find more of these.
Yep, so you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. And we've also got a website, amttm.com, where you can find our fabulous episodes on Breaking Bad.
If you have any questions, queries, insights, or criticism, you can send them to mail@amttm.com.
And as always, thank you for listening.